Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today, I share a project called The Untrained World, an Atlas of AI Exclusion, a computational analysis of geographic bias in large language models such as ChatGPT, Google Gemini, or Claude from Anthropic, examining how AI systems represent data-rich zones versus remote, undocumented regions, finally converting them into my artwork. Before starting the presentation, I will shortly introduce myself. Hi, I'm Yoonyoung Kim, and I'm an artist and AI engineer based in Seoul, South Korea. And my work explores the following: algorithmic conceptualism, drawing as engineering, and collaboration between human and AI, building machine learning and AI systems. So this is my research motivation. The starting question is quite simple. So do AI models respond differently to well-documented places compared to less documented ones? We already know there is a digital divide in human society. So this project asks, does that divide also exist inside AI models? Big cities are written about constantly: news, tourism, social media. And remote places often exist with very little digital trace. That gap becomes a semantic distance inside AI system as well. So here is the example of documenting questions to AI models and its responses. So you can see that the difference between the response here. So the first thing is the question about New York City. And the second one is a question regarding the Kenhard, South Africa. So you can see the different responses. So to study this, I divided the world into two groups. The first one is AI zone, and the second one is AI free zone I defined. So the AI zone includes major global cities like NYC, London, Tokyo, and Seoul, where I'm from. And the AI free zone includes remote or extreme locations like Kinmud Land in Antarctica, the empty Qatar Desert, rural Ethiopia, and even Valles Marineris on Mars. These places are not empty in reality, but they are almost empty in data. And the question fall into familiar human ways of knowing a place. Some are physical, like climate and location. Some are social, like population or infrastructure. The others are cultural, like history, tradition, and unique details. These categories help us see where AI knowledge is strong and where it collapses. Across all locations I defined, I asked 30 standardized questions covering 8 categories as mentioned before, from geography to culture. And I then compared how AI respond to each location using multiple AI models, the same question, and the same evaluation method. And each AI response is converting into numerical object called embedding, a around 300 dimensional vector that represent meaning. I then measured how close or far these meanings are using cosine similarity, Euclidean distance, and different pooling strategy, which is used from data science area. And this let us measure semantic distance between the different responses from AI models. After applying the analytical framework, the initial zone level similarity results were quite meaningful, particularly when comparing the pooling method. At first glance, some methods such as max and min pooling suggest that AI zone and AI free zone look similar. But when I use min pooling, which is just averaging over the different embedding value, a clear separation appears. The untrained world has a distinct semantic signature separated by a consistent distance across model. And what surprised me most is how similar the models are. ChatGPT, which is very famous, and Claude from Anthropic, and Gemini from Google, shares over 90% agreement in how they separate zones. Different companies, different architectures, yet almost the same geographic bias. This suggests a shared worldwide shaped by the same global data source. Despite the critical impact of the pooling method, the model themselves show remarkable consistency. We observed extremely high correlation, over 90% across all models. Even more surprisingly, this high argument remains consistent even when discussing data scarce AI free zone. I think this implies that when the model hallucinate or extrapolate due to sparse data, they are doing so in a highly similar manner across different models. Um, it, it has been established that the semantic distance between the AI zone and the AI free zone is real and measurable, but not all knowledge gaps are equal. The largest difference appear in history and culture category and specific details. This requires stories, memories, and live documentation. And the smallest difference appears in climate and environment. Uh, nature is easier to generalize than culture. This tells us what kind of knowledge AI is most fragile with. So here are scatter plots of question category with lowest similarity between AI zone and AI free zone. So you can see that, for example, category 3, which is history and culture, the area on the plot can be easily differentiated between the two groups, AI zone and AI free zone. And others are the same in category 4. And likewise, here you can see that the category 8, which is infrastructure and economy, is one of the top 3 with low similarity between the two groups. So you can see here that there's a clear distinction between the two groups. And however, you can see here that there are slightly mixed dots between AI zone and AI free zone for a certain category with relatively higher similarity. So you can see a disperse of, the dots here. So this question create the deepest divide. The question like, what are 3 unique or distinctive characteristics of location? Different location. And historical related question like, what is the historical significance here, or what historical event here happened here? And for remote region, AI often responds with vague general language, while for the big city like New York City, more detailed version of responses were provided. In contrast, a question about climate or travel season show very small difference. This suggests that AI is better at global pattern, which can be known more easily by scientific devices such as satellites, and then local meaning, which requires digital recording efforts by someone. It knows the planet, but not the people, like us. There was some insight about pooling impacts. So the choice of pooling method is not a minor technical detail. It is the lens through which we observe AI explosion. I found that max and min pooling method mask the true semantic void, resulting in high similarity scores above 90% because they focus on the single most or least similar feature. Conversely, mean pooling by averaging the semantic content across all questions is sensitive to overall lack of information in the AI-free zones. This averaging effect pulls the similarity score down to more realistic, like 57%, clearly revealing the semantic exclusion. In a way, mean pooling is better at listening to silence of AI models. So to summarize, first, the separation between zones is real, but not total. Second, exclusion depends strongly on topic. Third, all major models mirror the same bias. And finally, the analysis method matters, just like mean pooling. So now I will discuss about how I turn them into my art. So yeah, this is where the project turns into art. The embeddings are not just numbers, they are a structure of knowledge and ignorance by AI models. It treats them as a raw material. I treat them, I treat the embedding values as raw material of my art. Density becomes forms, uncertainty becomes angle, length, and finally radial patterns. And the final output is like this. Patterns are all interconnected on my canvas by their own movement and weight. Technically, I loaded the embedding values, mapped them to visual parameters, and generate radial forms, which I think the eyes of AI looking into our world. But conceptually, this is about giving shape to absence. The AI zone and AI-free zone can be separated or mixed to see how exclusion or inclusion behave visually. So this is the resulting art sketch example. So what you are seeing is a radial projection of semantic meanings from AI for each region. I intended that they are portraits of AI perception and how AI look at us and our world. Some areas become dense and noisy, others are thin, repetitive, or almost empty. So AI models implicitly treat high resources zones as the default human experience. Undocumented reason, AI-free zone remain untrained because they lack digital footprints. AI services then fail to generate value for these reasons, further discouraging digital adoption and widening the gap between the zones. But which world would be more beautiful? This question kept returning throughout my work process, and it was something I constantly asked myself. Which area is more beautiful? Yeah. So this is the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening to me.